Okay, guys. So what we'll do is we'll continue where we left off in the last class. Last class we were seeing some variations of your while loop. So we were just discussing what are the do's and don'ts of your while loop. So ஒரு while loopல என்னென்னலாம் பண்ணக்கூடாது அப்படின்றத தான் we were just seeing. So we'll just see that a little bit more in detail. So I told you that every while loop, okay, every while loop that you are creating, you remember we are having three parts of the while loop. So we are having an initial value, we are having a condition, and of course we are having the increment or the decrement part. Okay, so every while loop should have these three conditions is what we saw in the previous session. Okay, so in that, what is the first thing? What is the first thing that we should not do or we should avoid doing is, like, for example, whenever you're creating a loop. Okay, so first thing is, like, make sure we have a proper condition. So I'm just saying here the condition is, and then I'm just printing the value of I, and here I am not giving the increment part. The increment part I have not mentioned here. So this was the last example which we were going through. So we'll start off from here. So what happens in this scenario is, at the starting of the loop, so before going into the loop, a variable I is getting created with the value as 1. Okay, this is fine. Yes, I have an initial value or the starting value of I here. Next, condition. Yes, I am having a condition also. So the condition says that as long as the value of I is less than or equal to 5. Yes, it seems to be a valid condition. Okay, so what is that I have to do here? When my condition is true is, I'm just printing the I value. So whatever is the current I value, I'm just going to print that value. So that is what this loop is actually going to do for me. Okay, so the loop also seems to be fine. But the problem is, the third part of the while loop is missing in this scenario. So what is going to happen? The I value is 1, and that is not at all being either incremented or decremented. Nothing is happening here. So the I value is always going to remain on only in this program. It is never going to change at all. So whenever you execute this, what is going to happen? It is going to go into an infinite loop because the I value is never being modified here. So the I value is always going to remain 1. So what will happen when it always remains 1? The condition is always going to be true. The condition is never going to become false. So this is the first scenario what I am supposed to avoid. So while writing my while loop, make sure my while loop doesn't go into an infinite loop. So the first situation to avoid. So make sure you are giving the all the three essential parts of the while loop should be there. Otherwise, yes, goes to the infinite loop. Okay. What other things? So this is infinite loop. Let us say this is scenario 1. Okay, this is scenario 1. Right. What other way? Okay, let me tell you here. So I'm going, see my program, I'm going to create a program here, okay, which is going to ask my user to enter a number. So what is that you're going to do? You're going to create a program which is going to ask the user to enter a number. And this step has to keep on getting repeated again and again until the user enters 0. So until the user gives 0, you have to keep on asking the user, enter a number, enter a number, enter a number. So it should keep on going like this. So for this situation, what you are going to do? I'm going to create a loop like this. I'm going to say while true. So while true. You know that true is a keyword for me in Python. So true, what is it going to mean? The word true means, yes, I'm myself saying that the condition is true. The condition is true. So normally what is the syntax? What is the syntax of a while loop? So I will say while followed by some specific condition. So when this condition is true, it will go inside and whatever we are asking to do, that work will be done. But here in this situation, what is that I'm saying? I myself saying that this condition is true. So whatever the condition I'm telling here, instead of that I'm writing true. So it means the condition is always going to be true. So now go inside and I'm just going to say print I. So what is going to happen when I execute this particular program here? Here the thing is hi. So since my condition is true, it is never becoming false. The loop is going to be an infinite loop. So you may ask, ma'am, why we are giving like this? Yes, there are some situations where you will be required to write a while loop like this. That is the system. What is the program I gave you now? So I am saying here x is equal to, okay, x is equal to, I am saying input of enter a number. Okay, this is what my program is going to do. So since it is a number, let me write it as int of input of. Okay, so when I run this program, what is that I'm saying? Every time when you run this, it has to keep on asking you until you enter 0, this loop has to be repeated. So first time when I give 10, again it has to ask me, enter a number. I'm giving some value, again it has to ask me. When I'm giving some other value again. So see, this is going into an infinite loop now. So remember one thing, there are situations in a program where you will be required to create an infinite loop. So whenever the situation arises like this, then it is the programmer's responsibility. So it will not come out. This is an infinite loop. So remember always, it is the programmer's responsibility to make sure that this loop is getting terminated. So as a programmer, you have to do it. So how I'm going to do it? How to come out of an infinite loop when there is no way of it? Because as long as the condition is true, the loop is going to keep on running. Here my condition is never going to become false. So what am I supposed to do? So remember, we will be making use of one keyword called as break. So there is one keyword called as break. So what do you mean by break? Normally in a vehicle, whether it is a cycle, whether it is a two-wheeler, whether it is a car, why do you have a brake? What is the purpose of a brake? What will happen when you step on a brake? The vehicle will stop. Right, that is the purpose of the brake. You're going too fast. I want to stop now. How to do it? I'll press on the brake. That is the same thing I'm going to do here also. I am having a loop which is keep on running. I want to stop this. How to stop it? Make use of the brake keyword. So brake is a keyword which is used to, so purpose of the brake is, which is used to terminate a loop. So what is the purpose of the brake? Brake is used to come out of the, so here, what is the condition I told you? The condition I told you is, if the number your user has entered 0, I am saying come out of the loop. Okay, that is over. Until he enters 0, the program has to keep on going. So I am giving that condition. So what I will say, if x value is equal to 0. So whatever the value the user is entering, I am storing it in the variable x. So I will check. If it is 0, then I will say break. If it is 0, then break. That is stop the loop. So come out of the loop. So that is what I am instructing here. Now when I run this program, see what happens. Give any numbers. 2-digit number, 3-digit number, 5-digit number, 10-digit number. Don't bother. Any number as you want. Positive numbers or negative numbers, anything you want, you can keep giving. It will keep on running again and again and again and again because the condition is true. So now when the user gives the value as 0, then when you press the enter key, the loop will stop automatically. What happens here? Every time when the program is running, what will happen? One value is got, it is stored in the x variable. Then you're going and checking, is the x value equal to 0? No, it is not. So if it is not, if this condition is not true, what will happen? It will not go inside at all. So automatically it will go to the next time. Next time it is asking you the x value, then it is going the next time, like that it will keep on going. So when the x value is 0, this condition will become true, so it will come inside. So when it comes inside, I'm saying break. Break means it will break out of the loop, it will terminate the loop, it will stop executing the loop. So always understand, you should not write conditions like this. But there are some situations, there are some programs in which wantedly you will try to create an infinite loop because the program demands us to do it. So in case if it is doing like that, then it is the programmer's responsibility to properly terminate out of the loop. So how can he terminate? Can terminate with the help of this break keyword. So what I will do, I will give a terminating condition. So if the number is 0, I am saying here break. Okay, if the number is not 0, then what to do? Let us do that also. Let us do some work here. So I am going to say here total is equal to 0. The initial value, the starting value of total is a variable is 0. Now I am saying here total is equal to total plus x. Done. Okay, now come out of the loop. Here let us write print sum of all the numbers is, then whatever is there in the total, whatever is stored in the total needs to be printed here. So now when I execute this program, see starting value I'm saying total is 0. Then I'm going to run this. So while running, what is going to happen? While I'm saying the condition is true, so automatically it will come inside. So come inside and first it will ask me to enter a number, right? So see what happens. Yes. So when I enter a number and press on the enter key, what happens? That number is taken and it is stored inside this variable. Next step, go to the next line. If x value is equal to 0, it is checking this condition. Condition is false. So it will not go inside the if condition. It will automatically go to the next line following this if. So the next line is what? I am saying total is equal to total plus x. So the starting value of total is what? 0. So 0 plus whatever is the number, whatever is the value that my x variable is holding, which is nothing but 10. So 0 plus 10, 10. So now the value 10 will be stored in this variable. Next time again the loop will go. Since the condition is true, automatically it will go inside. It will ask you enter another number. Okay, this time I'm giving you another number. I'm giving 20. When you press the enter key, what is going to happen? 20 will be stored in the variable x. It is going to go and do the comparison. Still the condition is not true. So it is going to come here. Already total is now having the value 10. So 10 plus 20. So 30 is going to be the new value. Then again the loop will go. Since condition is true, go inside, ask. Again. So okay, I'm giving one more number. Then again, as long as you are giving 0, it is going to keep on asking you. So once if I give 0, then the loop will stop. So then the loop is going to stop. Sorry, here my mistake is I have given as printf. So printf is actually, there is no function called as printf here in our Python. So that's why you're getting that error. So let us redo the program. There you go. 40 and I'm giving 0 now. See what happens. All the total till whatever, until I give 0, whatever the numbers were there, it is summing everything, storing it total. So coming after the loop, I'm just printing that some value. So this is a program where we are creating an infinite loop, but at the same time we are terminating from the infinite loop using the break keyword, right? So now what other possibility of an infinite loop? Okay, let's have a look here. I'm saying while 1 colon printf, inside I'm saying print high. So when I execute this, again see what is going to happen. Again it is going to go into an infinite loop. Why infinite loop? You remember I told you in Python, there is some special things. 1 is considered as true, 0 is considered as false. That is point number 1 I told you. And remember point number 2, what we discussed when we are dealing with the operators concept. Any number, whether it is a positive number or a negative number, any number which is not 0, any number which is not 0 is always treated as true. It is always said as true. So here when I say while 1, I'm saying it is true again. Condition is true. So whether you're giving 1 or whether you're giving 1 or whether you're giving 100, now also the condition is going to be true. So let us just check that also. So here I'm just printing C on this. So because it is a non-zero number, hence it is going to be considered as true only for me. See, whether it is a positive number or a negative number, I'm giving minus 100. Let me change the frame so that you don't have to think it is the same output. Every time I'm running, it's producing me again another infinite loop because it is still considered to be true for me. See, but at the same time here, when I give 0, what happens? See this, run this, see what happened. The code is accepted, but I am not getting any output at all. Why? 0 means false. So either you write here 0 or you write here like this, false. Both are same. Whether I write 0 or whether I write false, both means same. So what happens here? When the condition is false, it is never going to go inside the loop itself. It is not going to go inside. So nothing is going to get printed for me. So whether you put 0 or false, that means you are saying the condition is false. So when the condition is false, the loop will never get executed for me. Right. And one more very, very important thing. You should avoid using conditions like this. For example, I am saying 1 less than, this is my condition. So what is the condition I'm giving? 1 less than 2. Yes, this is a condition. 1 less than 2, yes, it is there. But will this condition ever become false? 1 is a number which will always be lesser than 2, no matter what you do. What you can do on a number, if it is a variable, at least I can increment it, I can decrement it, I can do something. But here we are using constants, we are using fixed numbers. So 1 less than 2 is a condition which is always going to be true and it is never going to change. So always avoid using such conditions. So when you are writing your program, these are some very, very important points with the while loop that you have to concentrate on. So make sure while loop has all the 3 parts. Make sure that you are giving the condition there properly. Otherwise, you are going to end up with problems using the while loop. So these are some of the important pointers of your while loop. So yes, of course, there will be situations where we will be writing the infinite loop like this, depending on the program. But whenever you are creating an infinite loop, make sure that you are using the break keyword and you are making your program to come out of the loop properly. Right. Okay. So what else about the while loop that I should be knowing? Here is one more small thing. You're familiar with the else keyword, I'm sure. Right. We are familiar with the else. Else is a keyword. So when did we use else along with our if conditions? Normally we use else in any programming language you take. Normally we use else whenever we are giving an if condition. So we will say if. So we'll say if. When is the if going to get executed? When the condition is true. When the condition is true, the if statement, whatever you are giving inside the if will get executed. Otherwise what will happen? When the condition is false, then whatever you are giving inside the else part is going to get executed. This is the normal procedure. This is how I make use of the if keyword and I make use of the else keyword. So here in Python, there is one important thing. I can make use of the else keyword along with loops also. Loops plus else keyword is allowed here. So loops means what? Whether you are using a for loop also, you can use the else keyword. Whether you are using a while loop also, I can make use of the else keyword. So else keyword can be used with the concept of my loops also here in Python. So how to do that and how it is going to work? It is very, very simple. So first, let us write a valid condition where I am saying while I less than equal to 10, I'm just going to say print Python. Okay, then I'm saying I plus is equal to 1. Then you will write the else condition. Just like how you are using your if else. So what you'll do, first you'll write the if condition, then you'll write the else condition. Same way, first you'll write the loop. Whatever the loop you are creating, whether you are creating a for loop or a while loop, first you will write the loop. And then after completing the coding of your loop, you will add the else keyword. So else, we will do some work. So else I'm saying loop completed. I'm just giving a statement like this. Then, of course, what I'm having, coming outside of the loop, I'm having a print statement. So here I'm saying program. Right. This is my program. So see here what is going to happen. How is this going to get executed? Let us try to understand how my else condition is going to be working. So normally we already know when is the else part going to work? When the condition is false. When will the else part work? When the condition is false. The same thing here also. So as long as my while condition is true. Okay, so as long as this condition is true, whatever you are giving inside the loop is going to get executed for me. Once this condition becomes false, okay, so once when this condition becomes false, it will automatically go to the else part, and whatever you have given within the else is going to get executed for you. Understand? Simple as what it is there in the if else. So first it will check the if condition. If the if condition is true, it will execute the if. Otherwise, it is going to go to the else. So same way here, this condition will be tested. So if this condition is true, then your body of the loop will get executed. So as long as this condition is true, the body of the loop will keep on getting executed again and again. Once this condition becomes false, it will automatically go to the else keyword, and inside that whatever you are given is going to get executed. So now in this scenario, what is going to happen? I value is 1, 1 less than equal to 10, condition is true. So it is going to go inside print Python. So after printing Python, it is going to increment my I value. So is it necessary that always you have to increment it by 1? No, it is your choice. I'm incrementing it by 5. That is what? I plus is equal to 5 means what? I is equal to I plus 5. Remember the shorthand operator. So here what is going to happen? Next I value is going to become 5. So 5 less than equal to 10. Condition true. So again it will come inside. It will execute Python for me. Then 5 plus 5. So 10. So again it is going to check your condition. So the condition is going to be checked. So it is going to execute the. So now when the I value goes beyond 10, when the I value goes beyond 10, what is going to happen? The condition is going to become false. The condition is going to become false. So what are the things? First time starting I value is 1. So condition is true. So it is going to print. So it is going to print. So first time printing is done. Next time when I go, I is equal to I plus 5. So current I value is 1. So 1 plus 5, 6. So yes, 6 less than equal to 10. True. So it is going to print. Next time when the loop runs, I value is what? 6 plus 5. So condition is now going beyond. So condition I is becoming 11. So this is false. So this becomes false. So when it becomes false, it will not go inside the loop. Now my condition is false. So automatically it will go to the else part. So whatever you are given within the else is going to get executed. So what I have given inside else, loop completed. So it is going to print the loop completed. Okay, next what it is going to do. So this is also over. This is also over. Next it will automatically come to the next line following the program. So it is just going to say program. So this is how I will be making use of the keyword else. So this is how I will be making use of the keyword else. Fine. So when is the else going to work? When my condition is false. Say suppose here I am giving the initial starting I value to be 100. Now what will happen? 100 less than equal to 10. Condition is false. So it will not go inside at all. Automatically it will come to the else part. It will just say loop completed and then it will go to the next line following this. So it will say program ends. Let us check it. Run this out. See what this. Because the condition starting itself is false. So it will automatically go to the else part. Right. Superb. So this is how my while loop with the else condition is going to be working. Right. So in this, what is that I should be knowing? What is the special thing that I should be knowing? Just have a look at here. I'm saying if height equals to 5, then so just have a look what I'm doing here. So first it is going to check my loop. Okay, so first what is going to happen? The condition is there. Let us change the condition back to a valid condition. So now what is going to happen? It is going to first starting I value is 1. So 1 less than 10. So what is the condition going to be? 1 less than equal to 10. So my condition is true. So when my condition is true, obviously it is going to, so the print function is going to be working for me. So now what is going to happen? I is 1. 1 equal to 5. False. So it will not go inside this at all. Automatically it will come to the print and then the I value is going to be incremented. So after printing what will happen? It will increment the I value. So I is going to become 2. Next time how it will go? 2 less than equal to 10. Condition is true. Come inside. 2 equal to 5? No. So go inside, print Python, increment I. So like this, it is going to keep on happening. When it reaches 5, when I value reaches 5, what is it I am saying? I am saying break. So what is the purpose of the keyword break? It is asked to come out of the. So now my question is, when it comes out of the loop, where is it going to go? Where is it going to go? Is it going to go to the else part or is it going to go to this statement? Where it is going to go? This is the loop, right? So when I say out of the loop, where is the control going to get transferred? That is my question. Can you please let me know? Can you please tell me what is going to happen in this scenario? Can anyone of you predict the output of this program? How is it going to be working for me? What is going to happen? That is what I want to know. Come on, guys, give me an answer. What will be the output of this program when I execute? I told you what is the break. I told you what is the else. So how is it going to work for me? What is going to happen when I execute this? I told you step by step how it is going to work. So now my question is, okay, the pro loop is going to break when I value becomes 5. But after breaking out of the loop, where is my control going to be going? Which place is it going to go? So how is my output going to be like? Hmm. Okay. Yes, very good. What about others? Anyone else wants to give it a try? Okay, I'll tell you. So remember one thing, else is also part of your while loop. Else is a keyword. This else statement also belongs to which one? It belongs to the while loop only, right? So when I say break, it will come entirely out of the loop. So out of the loop means even out of this else also. So it will not come to the else part at all. So please remember, whenever you are having a loop and you are breaking out of the loop using the break keyword, that is, you are coming out of the loop using the break keyword means the else part also will never get executed. So this is one very important point that you have to remember. See what happens here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Because fifth time I'm saying break. Fifth time I'm saying break. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times it is going to print. After that, when it reaches 5, I am saying break. So always remember, break means it will come in out of the loop entirely. So out of the loop means even out of the else statement also. If this break is not there, then it is a different scenario. What it will do? It will keep on getting executed until this condition is satisfied. Once this condition is satisfied, once this condition becomes false, it will go to the else part, then it will go to the next line. So that is the normal flow. That is going to be your normal flow. See, when I don't have this, when I run the program, see, this is a normal flow. But remember, whenever you are using the break and coming out of the loop, the else part of your while loop or your for loop, whichever it is, this rule is applicable for both. Whenever you are coming out of the loop using the break keyword, then the else part will never get executed. So it will just follow, come to the line following the whatever statement is there, following the loop, it is going to come to that particular line. And this is all about your while loop. So how to create the while loop, how to write the programs using while loop, how to use it with my strings, how to use it with my list, what are the do's and what are the don'ts of my while loop. So we have covered all those points. Okay, so based on while loop, and now we are going to start our for loop. So based on the concept of loops, by today night, I will be sharing you guys some programs. So I want you to start trying more programs using the loops. So try to find where exactly I can apply the loops. Mostly, I will give you my own programs. Okay, but there are some standard programs also. So there are some companies which ask my standard programs also. Standard programs means what? Fibonacci series, find the sum of the digits, reverse this number. So these are the standard programs that is there. So you should be doing both the standard programs also. So you should remember all that logics also. Plus I will share you some more programs, which scenario based programs, as we call it, scenario based programs, which I want you guys to give it a try. Right. So now going for the next type of loop, what we have in Python. So I already told you in Python we have only two loops. We have the while loop and we have the for loop. So we have just completed the while loop. So now going for the for loop. So what are the different ways we can write our for loop? So please understand, in Python, for loop can be written in three different formats. We have the simple for loop. Okay, then I have the for loop with range. You remember the range function? We have already seen the range function. So then we have the for loop. Okay, we have the for loop with another predefined function which is called as enumerate. Which is called as enumerate. So there are three variations by which you can write your for loops. So one using a simple for loop, one using the for loop with the range function. The third format is using the for loop with the enumerate function. Okay, now first let us start with the simple for loop. So what is the syntax? So what is the syntax for writing a simple for loop? How to go about it? So you are going to say for which is a keyword. Obviously, since it is a for loop, we are going to have the for keyword. So for some variable name, any choice, your choice, whatever variable name you want, you can make use of it. So for followed by some variable name, then in is again our keyword. So in, we have to mention the sequence. We have to mention the sequence name, colon, then whatever the statement, indentation you have to follow, then you are going to give the statements. So this is the syntax of your simple for loop. Why do we call it as a simple for loop? No initial value, no test condition, no iteration, nothing is required. Simply nothing is required for it. So that is why we call this as a simple for loop. What is the syntax? For some variable name in the given sequence. So you already know what is a sequence. Sequence or a collection. You remember? What do you mean by that? So any variable that is going to have a group of values stored inside it. One variable holding multiple values is what we call as a sequence or a collection. Again, examples: string. Under one single variable name, you are holding so many different characters. Then list. Yes, under one variable I am holding so many different values in a list also. Sets, tuples, dictionaries. These data types we have already seen. So all these are nothing but sequence or a collection data type. So we can make use of that data types here in this place. That is what the syntax. So for some variable name in the given sequence. Let us take an example. Let us take an example. So here, first I am creating a string. Okay, I am creating a string. I am saying Java. This is my string. Okay, now using while loop, I already told you how to print it. So now using the for loop, rather to say using the simple for loop. So you already know when I say print of yes, it is going to print me the entire value. What it is going to print? It is going to print Java for me. No doubt in that. Right. But now I want to print each and every individual character separately. Then using for loop. While loop I already know. Now using the for loop how to do it. So say for, give any variable name. Let me give it as x. For x in, what do you have to say? Sequence name. What is the name of the sequence here? Yes. Yes is the name of the string. So give that colon. Then inside what do you have to say? I am saying give the statements. So what is the statement going to be here? So I am saying I want to print each and every character inside my string. So I am saying print. Okay. Yes. Yes. That's all. So let us run this. Let us run this. Then we will discuss how we are getting this. Okay. See, first we are getting, yes, the output is coming. The output is working fine for me. No problem. Okay. How is this working? That is our next question. How is this working? Okay. Let us understand how this loop works. I told you, no initial value, no test condition, no iteration, nothing is required. So then how is this working? So remember, automatically the simple for loop will always start, okay, will always start from the beginning. It will always start from the beginning. So whatever is the starting value, whatever is the starting character, whether it is a string or whether it is a list or whether it is a tuple or whether it is a dictionary, whatever it is, okay, it will always start from the first character or the first element. It will always start from the first element. So start from the beginning, and it will automatically, it will go till the end. So it will start from the beginning and it will automatically go till the end. No need for you to say this is the start, this is the end, increment it by one, move every index position, nothing is required. So this work is done automatically. So remember, always starting, it will automatically start from the beginning, okay, and ending, it will automatically go till the end. Every time it will move only by one position. So if this is there in the first element, then automatically it will go to the second element. Automatically it will go to the third element. Automatically it will go to the fourth element. Like this, each and every element it will go one by one, one by one, one by one. Right. So now what is going to happen is, every time is it visits one element, that element is stored in this variable x. So first time, what is the beginning? J. J is the beginning here. So first time when this loop is running, from yes, the j value will be taken and stored inside the x variable. So it will come inside. I am saying print x, so it is printing j. Next time, automatically it will move to the next element, which is a. So a will be picked up and it is stored in the x variable. So come inside the loop, it will print the a value. Then automatically again move to the next element, v. Then move to the next element. So like this, automatically from the starting till the ending, it is going to be moving one by one, one by one. So that is why we call this as a simple for loop. No need for me to mention anything here. Suppose if this is a list. Suppose if this is a list, how is it going to work? So you know what is a list. So within the square brackets, comma separated values is what we call as my list. So in case if this is my list values. So how is this going to work? So this is the starting, this is the ending. This is element 1, element 2, element 3, element 4, element 5. So 5 times this loop is going to be running for me. Automatically it will start from the first value. See, it is printing the first value. So what is going to happen? The first value is 10. That will be stored inside the x variable. So come inside the loop, it will print it. Now automatically it will go to the second position. It will not skip anything. It will definitely go one by one only. You cannot do any change. You cannot say, okay, go to the first, then jump to the third, then from there jump to the fourth. No, I cannot do that. That is not possible here. So just remember, simple for loop, it will automatically start from the beginning. It will automatically end at the last, and it is going to go and visit each and every element. You cannot bypass anything. So this is how your simple for loop will be working. So in case if this is a tuple, we know how to create a tuple. So we are going to put it within the parenthesis. You can run this. Yes, it will run. No problem. See, it will be working with all of my data types. Whether it is a string, it will work. That is all of my collection data types. So mind it, I loop over an integer or a floating. That is not possible. But all of my collection types, you can make use of the simple for loop. Yes, it will be working for me just fine. Right. So in our next session, we will be looking at the other two formats of your